Welcome back. We start the conversation this morning in Kenya, where the Supreme Court of Kenya on Monday upheld the election of William Ruto as president, ending an acrimonious courtroom battle over disputed results from the August 9th elections and confirming Mr. Ruto as the fifth president of the country, often seen as a beacon of democratic strength in Africa. His rival, Raila Odinga, and others had alleged there had been massive fraud in the results, but Chief Justice Martha Koome swept aside claims of stuffed ballots, hacked computers, and falsified results that she variously described as sensationalism, hot air, and a wild goose chase that yielded nothing of value.
A jubilant and smiling Mr. Ruto addressed supporters and lauded the court's decision while extending a conciliatory hand to his rivals and promised to bring the country together after a bruising, if largely peaceful, election. Mr. Ruto, who garnered 50.5% of the votes in a closely fought election against 48.8% of Mr. Odinga, will be sworn in as the country's fifth president next week. Now, joining us from Nairobi, Kenya, is Raquel Muigai. She is a reporter for Africa Uncensored. Good morning, Raquel. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning to you, Sajay, as well, and Olive as well. Good morning.
All right, let's get your general view on the outcome of the Supreme Court's judgment and what this means for, all Kenyans out there.
Well, for Kenyans, this means that the country can now move forward. It has been one busy year of electioneering. Everything came to a standstill. Nothing could be done because of elections, because of campaigns. And therefore, that period of uncertainty is now over. We went to the polls on August 9th, and the announcement was made on August 15th. And it has taken that long for us to finally move on from this. And therefore, for Kenyans, it's about what really matters next. How they're going to put food on their table, matters to do with the economy, matters to do with health and education. That is what really matters for Kenyans at this point. They did their part. The court has done their part. We're now waiting for the next government to actually be sworn in next week on Tuesday.
All right. It doesn't seem that Raila Odinga's camp have accepted the court's ruling. In fact, they did put out a statement yesterday which reads, "We have taken note of the decision of the Supreme Court on the presidential election held on August 9, 2022. We have always stood for the rule of law and the Constitution. In this regard, we respect the opinion of the court, although we vehemently disagree with their decision today." How would you react to this statement? And also, Kenyans generally, his team, how has his team handled all of this?
I think looking from where I sit, and basically this is a reaction that you would expect from anyone who had filed a similar petition, because they did believe the legal team, Raila Odinga's legal team, believed that they did put their best case forward. However, the court did not see it that way. All of the petitions that they filed, all the issues, the 9 issues that they had, were dismissed. And as you earlier mentioned, the court termed it as hot air and a wild goose chase. And therefore, the thing is that the fact that they do respect the court's decision, even if they disagree with it, means that they are willing to probably move on or take a different turn in terms of how they're going to fight for democracy, as you mentioned earlier. And the beauty of all this is that even his supporters in the strongholds, in the areas that are considered his strongholds, have not really come out to demonstrate as a portion or a number of, or a percentage of Kenyans had actually thought. And that's the beauty of it. So at this point, it's just wait and see what exactly his statement will be, because he said he'll issue a statement further describing how they're going to push for this fight for democracy, how they're going to ensure transparency in the country's institutions. And that is what Kenyans are really waiting to see, because he has tried 5 times and has not succeeded since 1997. Only failing to do so in 2002 when he supported the late President Mwai Kibaki. And therefore, for Kenyans, it's more of how will he exit this political stage, and will he be exiting in the first place? Because he's also 77 years old. So or rather, Kenyans are really waiting to see what this happens. But so far, so good. How they took it is something that we will term as quite respectful.
Well, I want to, sorry, apologies, Olive. I want you to, go on with, the points concerning Raila Odinga at 77. And of course, he's contested so many times. I don't know. What would you say, made him always, just fail to win it ever?
Well, From where I sit, I think the country has grown in terms of matters to do with democracy and in the political arena as well. Having tried out in 1997, just taking up from his father, probably at the time he wasn't well known. But looking back in the times that he has tried again, especially during the 2007, 2013, 2017, all these times, apparently there was a better or rather familiar candidate with Kenyans, a candidate who appealed to Kenyans more than he did. And therefore, we might never know why exactly he didn't win. We expected that this year probably he was going to win, having state machinery, rather the state backing behind him. And therefore, but that did not happen. And therefore, I think probably to something that was never meant to be. He's come too close, but yet too far from this presidential seat. And probably the best thing will be the Kenyans will want to see who exactly will he give this baton to. Because remember, looking at other political contenders or those people that have vied for presidency before, you do see that they get to probably mentor or someone else or give that baton to someone else, sort of provide that support to a different person within the same region. But we haven't seen the same from Raila Odinga. It has always been him, his family. Therefore, we haven't really seen someone that he has endorsed as probably the best candidate after him. And therefore, I think we may never know why all the time. It has been quite unfortunate to say, because 5 times, and looking at how the president-elect William Ruto just tried for the first time and getting it, and not being from a well-known family or what Kenyans here term as a dynasty family, it has just been unfortunate for Raila Odinga. So the next thing will be to know what exactly is he going to do after this, because we do not expect that he's going to vie again, and it's highly unlikely that the country will get to have or experience a president who will be 83 at the time, that is in 2027. So our key, or some of the questions that we would really love answered, is who exactly does he see as the best fit to follow up the kind of fight that he has put up for democracy of the country after him.
All right, now let's talk about the relationship between the outgoing president Uhuru Kenyatta and the incoming president William Ruto. Now we know that Uhuru Kenyatta had thrown his weight and his support behind Raila Odinga as opposed to William Ruto, who was his deputy president, which everyone expected him to. Now in his speech that was given right after the results of the Supreme Court were announced, Uhuru Kenyatta had mentioned, said a lot of things, talked about accountability, talked about the citizens of Kenya holding vigil for the current administration, never specifically congratulated Ruto and his government. Now, Ruto, on the other hand, has extended a hand of fellowship to him in all of this. How much do you see, them working together? How much support do we see getting from them, seeing that they're on opposing teams as regards the 2022 elections and the results so far?
First of all, in regards to the relationship between the outgoing president, Uhuru Kenyatta, and the incoming president, William Ruto, that relationship seems to probably will not be salvaged at this point. We did expect that President Uhuru Kenyatta will at least or directly congratulate William Ruto for the win, but that did not happen. And he somehow circumvented that particular congratulatory message by saying he wishes all the best to those who won. But during his speech yesterday, the President-elect William Ruto mentioned that he was going to give President Uhuru Kenyatta a call and see how they're going to move forward, because even when he vowed to support him back, that was 10 years ago, he did that without any conditions. That is what he said. And therefore, he'll be seeking to see how they'll get to move forward, because at the end of the day, his government seeks to respect President Uhuru Kenyatta and what he did. And the fact that he was the country's leader for 10 years. Therefore, the most they can do is respect him even as he retires. But moving on from how the government, now as the incoming government that will be sworn in on Tuesday next week, we do pray as Kenyans, personally as well, is that there will be a lot of support rallied behind President William Ruto, because remember that if we rally against him, then we're sort of shortchanging ourselves. And his deputy president mentioned yesterday as well, when they spoke immediately after the Supreme Court ruling, is that they do expect that if everyone was to rally behind President-elect William Ruto, then the the government that he will get to form will return this country to where the late President Mwai Kibaki had left it from. Remember, Mwai Kibaki, the late president, ruled between 2002 and 2013 when he handed over the mantle to President Uhuru Kenyatta. And some of the legacy that we remember him, and some of the things that we remember him for, infrastructure, the ease of doing business, free primary education, apart from the fact that there was the 2007, the dark shadows of 2007 post-election violence. But these are some of the things that we remember President Mwai Kibaki for. And therefore, if the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, mentions that that is where they will love to bring the country to, you think of all these good things that President Mwai Kibaki did, and you also want to see that this particular government will get to do that. And therefore, at this point, as Kenyans, we're hoping that there is support, because if that does not happen, then it will come trickling down back to us as Kenyans. And at the end of the day, we'll be the ones to suffer.
Oh, well. The Kenyan electorate have, of course, made their decision, so have the courts. And we're hoping that William Ruto does not disappoint. We, of course, wish Kenyans the best. We'll always love to bring you in and to speak on these issues. Thank you very much, Raquel, for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me as well.